Here recently, I started listening to a podcast called The Confessionals. And the episode that I started yesterday was titled The Alien Deception. And in this episode, they talk about how the UFO phenomenon and the alien abduction experience is purely spiritual or demonic in nature. Now, this idea is not completely new to me. I've known about this theory for years, but the one thing that never sat right with me, and this is because I've had a burning question in my mind, and that question goes something like this. Why would a demon or a spiritual entity need the shiniest of shiniest, technologically advanced, physics-defying light-year speed craft to get from point A to point B? And in this episode of The Confessionals, The Alien Deception, the guest kind of puts this into perspective where he says this is basically how they manifest, right? What you're seeing is not necessarily a craft. It appears that way. So it's not what you're seeing, it's more like what it actually is, right? You think that you see a craft, but it's really a spiritual being. And I thought, you know what, that makes more sense to me than, something that could possibly be from the Zeta Reticuli star system. So just so I'm clear, I'm not discrediting the fact that there is a possibility that it could be extraterrestrial. But when you take into account the absence of evidence, which I know does not mean that it's demonic, right? Just because there's a lack of evidence that it means this. I'm not saying that. But when you take into account the many years that we have been talking about this subject, with high profile events like Roswell, to the testimony of the whistleblowers in 2023 before Congress, and just all these different things that have come to pass, and we still to this day do not have any shred of evidence. To me, that's pretty telling. It makes me think that something is lurking somewhere where you can never see it. You always hear about it, but you never see it. It's this level of deceit and this hiding all the time that makes me think that this actually could be demonic. So yeah, if we don't get evidence in the next 30 seconds, I'm just going to assume that this is all spiritual. But I'd love to know what you think. Tell me what you think it is in the comments.